geography facts that millions of people believe are true, but they're completely wrong. From the Great Wall of China being visible from space to Mount Everest being the tallest mountain on Earth, we've been taught lies about our planet since elementary school. Right now, you probably believe at least half of these false facts. Maybe you think the Sahara is the world's largest desert, or that Holland and the Netherlands are the same thing. Perhaps you're certain that toilet water spins differently in different hemispheres, or that all deserts are hot. Every single one of these facts is wrong, and by the end of this, you'll understand why we've been deceived for so long. Let's start with the most famous geography myth of all time. The Great Wall of China is visible from space. This myth has been repeated so often that it's in textbooks, documentaries, and tourist guides. But here's the truth. Chinese astronaut Yang Liwei completely debunked this in 2003 when he went to space and couldn't see it. NASA has confirmed multiple times that the wall is impossible to see with the naked eye from space. You need telescopic lenses to spot it, and even then it's difficult. The myth started appearing in literature in the 1920s, decades before anyone had actually been to space. Now, Mount Everest. Everyone knows it's the tallest mountain on Earth, right? Wrong. Mount Everest is the highest point above sea level at 8,848.86 meters, according to the 2020 China-Nepal Joint Survey. But if we're talking about the tallest mountain from base to peak, that honor goes to Mauna Kea in Hawaii. From its base on the ocean floor to its summit, Mauna Kea measures 10,203 meters, and that's over a kilometer taller than Everest. We've just been measuring wrong this whole time. Speaking of getting things wrong, let's talk about deserts. The Sahara is the world's largest desert, not even close. Antarctica is the largest desert on Earth. See, a desert isn't defined by sand and heat, it's defined by lack of precipitation. Antarctica gets less than 2 inches of precipitation per year, making it not just a desert, but the driest and largest desert on our planet. The National Science Foundation confirms Antarctica is a desert, yet most people picture sand dunes when they hear that word. This brings us to another massive misconception. Deserts are always hot. The Gobi Desert experiences temperatures as low as -40 degrees. There are cold deserts all over the world, from the Great Basin in North America to the Patagonian Desert in South America. Temperature has nothing to do with what makes a desert a desert. Let's destroy some more myths. How many continents are there? You probably said 7 without hesitation. But that's not a fact, it's just one model. Some countries teach 5 continents, combining the Americas and considering Europe and Asia as Eurasia. Others teach 6, keeping the Americas separate but combining Europe and Asia. The 4-continent model groups everything into Afro-Eurasia, America, Antarctica, and Australia. There's no universal agreement on what defines a continent. While we're questioning everything you learned in school, let's talk about Holland. Holland is not a country. Holland is just 2 provinces, North Holland and South Holland, within the Netherlands. Calling the Netherlands Holland is like calling the United States Texas. Yet this mistake is so common that even the Dutch Tourism Board used to promote the country as Holland. Here's one that sparks heated debates. Which is the longest river? You probably said the Nile, but recent studies from 2007 and 2008 suggest the Amazon might be longer. The problem is that scientists can't agree on where these rivers actually start or how to measure their winding paths. The debate is ongoing, which means that fact in your textbook might be wrong. Now let's talk about the biggest lie on every world map you've ever seen, the size of countries. The Mercator projection, created by Gerardus Mercator in 1569, makes Greenland look almost as big as Africa. In reality, Africa is 14 times larger than Greenland. Scientific American has confirmed these distortions. The Mercator projection makes Russia appear 2 to 3 times larger than it actually is relative to Africa. Antarctica looks absolutely massive on most maps, but it's only 1.3 times the size of Europe. These distortions have serious consequences. Arno Peters, creator of the Peters projection, argued that the Mercator projection has fostered European imperialist attitudes for centuries by making Europe and North America appear larger and more important than they actually are. Even National Geographic didn't start addressing these distortions until 1989 when they began using the Robinson projection. Can you see Russia from Alaska? Sarah Palin made this claim famous, and technically it's partially true, but not the way most people think. You can see Russia from specific Alaskan islands like Little Diomede Island, which is only 2.4 miles from Russian territory. But from mainland Alaska, absolutely not. The mainland points are about 55 miles apart, far beyond the horizon. Let's flush another myth down the drain. The Coriolis effect does not determine which way your toilet water spins. This force is far too weak to affect small bodies of water. The direction your toilet flushes depends entirely on the design of the toilet and the angle of the water jets. Yet this myth persists in movies, TV shows, and bar trivia worldwide. How many oceans are there? If you said 4, you're living in the past. The Southern Ocean, surrounding Antarctica, was officially recognized as the 5th ocean. The International Hydrographic Organization has recognized it since 2000, but many textbooks and maps haven't caught up. Some of you might not even know the Southern Ocean exists. Here's a mind-bending one. Not all of South America is south of North America. Parts of South America extend farther north than parts of North America. The northern coast of South America reaches about 12 degrees north latitude, while the southernmost point of Mexico only reaches about 14 degrees north. They overlap significantly in latitude. Iceland is covered in ice, and Greenland is green, right? It's actually the opposite. Iceland has only 11% glacial coverage and is quite green in summer. Greenland, on the other hand, is about 80% ice. The names were essentially an ancient marketing ploy. Eric the Red named Greenland to attract settlers. The Panama Canal runs east to west, connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Except it doesn't. Due to the S shape of Panama, the canal actually runs northwest to southeast. Ships entering the Pacific Ocean from the Atlantic actually exit the canal farther east than where they entered on the Atlantic side. Look at a map carefully and prepare to have your mind blown. Chicago is called the Windy City because it's windy, obviously. Wrong again. The nickname originally referred to Chicago's long-winded politicians, not the weather. Meteorologically, Chicago isn't even in the top 10 windiest US cities. Boston, Milwaukee, and Dallas all have higher average wind speeds. Death Valley must be the lowest point on Earth. It's right there in the name, but it's not even close. The shores of the Dead Sea, at 430 meters below sea level, are the lowest point on land. Death Valley's Badwater Basin is only 86 meters below sea level. The Dead Sea's shores are 5 times lower. All world maps have north at the top because that's the correct orientation, right? This is completely arbitrary. Historical maps from different cultures place different directions at the top. Medieval European maps often put east at the top, and that's where we get the word orientation, literally meaning to face east. There's no scientific reason for north to be up. Seasons are caused by Earth's distance from the sun. When we're closer, it's summer. When we're farther, it's winter. This is so wrong it's painful. Seasons are caused by Earth's axial tilt of 23.5 degrees. In fact, Earth is actually closest to the sun in January, during the northern hemisphere's winter. If distance caused seasons, the whole planet would have summer and winter at the same time. Rainforests only exist in tropical areas. Tell that to the temperate rainforests of the Pacific Northwest, Tasmania, New Zealand, Chile, and Norway. These temperate rainforests are just as lush and even more rare than their tropical cousins, yet most people don't even know they exist. The Himalayas must be the longest mountain range on Earth after all. They have Mount Everest. Not even close. The Andes stretch for 7,000 kilometers along South America's western coast, making them nearly 3 times longer than the Himalayas' 2,400 kilometers. The Himalayas aren't even the second longest. That honor goes to the Rockies. England, Great Britain, and the United Kingdom are all the same thing. No, no, and no. England is a country within Great Britain. Great Britain is the island containing England, Scotland, and Wales. The United Kingdom includes Great Britain plus Northern Ireland. Using these terms interchangeably is like calling Canada part of the United States. All Caribbean islands are in the Caribbean Sea. Bermuda would like a word. Despite being lumped with Caribbean destinations, Bermuda is actually in the North Atlantic Ocean, about 1,000 miles north of the Caribbean. The Bahamas are also technically in the Atlantic, not the Caribbean Sea. The Arctic is just a frozen continent like Antarctica. This is backwards. Antarctica is a continent covered in ice. The Arctic is a frozen ocean surrounded by continents. There's no land under the North Pole. It's just sea ice floating on the Arctic Ocean. This fundamental difference affects everything from wildlife to international law. California has the most earthquakes in the United States. Alaska laughs at this myth. Alaska has more earthquakes than all other US states combined. California gets the publicity because more people live there and feel the quakes. But Alaska is the true earthquake champion, experiencing a magnitude 7 or greater earthquake almost every year. The Statue of Liberty is in New York. Geographically, it's not. Liberty Island is actually in New Jersey waters according to an 1834 compact between the two states. New York has jurisdiction over the island itself, but the surrounding waters belong to New Jersey. This has led to tax disputes and jurisdictional confusion for over a century. Washington, D.C. is in Washington state. This confusion is so common that locals in both places have standard responses prepared. Washington, D.C. is on the East Coast, nestled between Maryland and Virginia. Washington state is on the West Coast, bordering Canada. They're about 2,700 miles apart. All of Russia is in Asia. Russia is transcontinental, 77% sits in Asia, but 23% is in Europe. The European part of Russia contains most of its population and its capital, Moscow. The Ural Mountains traditionally mark the boundary between the European and Asian portions. Europe and Asia are clearly separate continents. Geologically, they're one continuous landmass called Eurasia. The division is purely cultural and historical, not geographical. There's no clear physical boundary. Even the Ural Mountains are relatively low and crossable. Some geographers argue we should just call it Eurasia and be done with it. Singapore is a city. Singapore is a sovereign nation, a city-state like Monaco or Vatican City. It's a country with its own government, military, and currency. Yes, it's small and urban, but it's been an independent nation since 1965. The Middle East is a continent. The Middle East isn't even clearly defined, let alone a continent. It's a transcontinental region that spans parts of Asia, Africa, and arguably Europe. Different organizations include different countries in their definition of the Middle East. Vatican City is part of Rome. Vatican City is an independent nation, the world's smallest sovereign state. It has its own postal system, euros, passports, and even a railway station. When you cross from Rome into St. Peter's Square, you're technically crossing an international border. Tibet is a country. Tibet hasn't been an independent country since 1951. It's currently an autonomous region of China, though this status remains one of the most contentious political issues in the world. But geographically and politically, it's not a sovereign nation. The Earth is a perfect sphere. Earth is an oblate spheroid. It bulges at the equator due to its rotation. The diameter at the equator is about 43 kilometers larger than the diameter from pole to pole. This isn't noticeable to the human eye, but it's significant enough to affect everything from satellite orbits to sea levels. Machu Picchu is one of the 7 wonders of the world. It's one of the new 7 wonders chosen by public vote in 2007, not one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Of the original 7 wonders, only the Great Pyramid of Giza still stands. Machu Picchu, while incredible, was never on the ancient list. All volcanoes are mountains. Most of Earth's volcanoes are actually underwater. There are thousands of submarine volcanoes along ocean ridges. Some volcanoes are just cracks in the ground. Others are depressions called calderas. The classic cone-shaped mountain is just one type of volcano. Quicksand works like it does in movies. You'll sink completely and disappear. Physically impossible. Quicksand is denser than the human body, so you can't sink past your waist. The real danger is getting stuck and being unable to escape rising tides or exposure, not disappearing into the earth. All rivers flow south. Rivers flow downhill. That's it. The Nile famously flows north. The Amazon flows east. The Rhine flows north. The Ganges flows east. Rivers follow gravity, not compass directions. The fact that we use downstream and upstream instead of directions should make this obvious. North is always at the top of maps. This is just convention, not a rule. Some airlines' route maps put their hub cities at the center, regardless of orientation. GPS systems rotate maps based on your direction of travel. There's nothing inherently up about North. GPS works everywhere on Earth. GPS signals can't penetrate water, so they don't work underwater. They struggle in deep canyons where satellites aren't visible. They don't work underground or in many buildings. Dense forest canopies can block signals. GPS has limitations most people never consider. All time zones differ by exactly 1 hour. India is UTC plus 5 hours and 30 minutes. Newfoundland is UTC minus 3 hours and 30 minutes. Nepal is UTC plus 5 hours and 45 minutes. Iran is UTC plus 3 hours and 30 minutes. There are dozens of time zones offset by 30 or 45 minutes. The idea of neat hourly time zones is a simplification that doesn't match reality. Earth's population is somewhat evenly distributed across habitable land. Half of humanity lives on just 1% of Earth's land. 60% of people live in Asia. More people live inside this circle in Asia than outside of it in the rest of the world. Population distribution is extremely concentrated, not spread out. All country borders are clearly defined. There are hundreds of border disputes worldwide. India and Pakistan dispute Kashmir. Egypt and Sudan have 2 different borders with each other. Many borders run through rivers that change course. Some borders have never been properly surveyed. Clear borders are the exception, not the rule. All icebergs are white. Icebergs can be blue when compressed ice absorbs red light. They can be green from algae. They can have brown or black stripes from sediment. Some icebergs are even jade-colored. The pristine white iceberg is just one variety. Niagara Falls is the tallest waterfall in the world. Niagara Falls is only 51 meters tall. Angel Falls in Venezuela plunges 979 meters, and that's 19 times taller. Niagara is famous for its volume of water and accessibility, not its height. There are hundreds of waterfalls taller than Niagara. All compasses point to the North Pole. Compasses point to magnetic north, not true north. Right now, magnetic north is in the Arctic Ocean, moving towards Siberia at about 55 kilometers per year. The difference between magnetic and true north, called declination, varies by location and changes over time. Finally, maps can be 100% accurate. It's mathematically impossible to perfectly represent a 3D sphere on a 2D surface without distortion. Every flat map sacrifices either size, shape, distance, or direction. Even Google Maps switches between different projections depending on zoom level because no single projection works for everything. So there you have it. 50 geographic facts that aren't facts at all. We've been wrong about our planet in fundamental ways, from the size of continents to the nature of deserts, from the height of mountains to the visibility of wonders from space. These aren't just trivial mistakes, they shape how we see the world and our place in it. The Mercator projection has made generations think Europe and North America are more significant than they actually are. Myths about visible landmarks from space have inflated our sense of human achievement. Misunderstandings about countries and borders have real political consequences. But here's the thing, now you know better. You understand that Greenland isn't the massive continent it appears to be on most maps. You know that deserts can be frozen wastelands, that mountains can hide underwater, and that even the number of continents is up for debate. You've learned that much of what we accept as geographic fact is actually convention, misunderstanding, or outdated information. The next time someone tells you the Great Wall is visible from space, or that Mount Everest is the tallest mountain, or that toilet water spins differently in Australia, you'll know the truth. And what's more important, you'll question other facts you've always accepted. Because if we've been wrong about these 50 things, what else have we gotten wrong about our planet?